So, have you had time to have a look at it? If you have, it's the picture on the right. Now, this is when you might want to stop the recording, have a look, take the time to figure out why it's the picture on the right. Eventually you might notice that the eyes seem a little smilier or shinier. That's because smiles take two sets of muscles. They take the set of muscles around the mouth and the set of muscles around the eyes. This lot, that's under conscious control. As you can see from the picture on the left, we can push our mouth up into a broad smile. But it doesn't look quite the same as when the eyes get involved. Because when the eyes get involved, the mouth is pulled up. So what you see is the eyeballs are pushed slightly further forward, so they catch the light more. And that's why we see this, what looks a smiley eye, because the highlight is stronger. And when the highlight is stronger, that's when we see this effect. We also see deeper lines, and you'll also see deeper lines here. And you'll also see usually more of the lower teeth, and the lip margin around the outside of the mouth is tighter. So because that smile is pushed up, so the cheeks get higher up. So all of that, tiny little changes, and that's where the two are subtle, is enough to show you that one is a genuine smile and the other is not. And a genuine smile is called a Duchenne smile. And that's what you're always looking for when you're trying to read. So that was instinct. We're going to now look at different types of faces. Apologies, this is really bad hair, but it's really good to see the same face from a neutral expression in all the universal emotions. And we do talk about universal emotions. It doesn't matter whether you're from Papua New Guinea or Birmingham, these are universal emotions. Everyone will use the same thing. Similarly, blind athletes will express exactly the same emotion when they are showing joy or sadness at a win or a loss than their sighted colleagues, even though they've never seen the emotion. So there's something uniquely human about the way we express these emotions. Now, the pictures that you're looking at are we call macro expression, the full emotion. And what you're more likely to see if you're sitting around a meeting table or you're looking at colleagues is the micro version. And what I'm going to do is go through each of the emotions in turn, and we're going to think about what the micro version might look like. Now, if you're not with colleagues or if you're alone, or you have absolutely no ability to get embarrassed, the best way of testing these out is to actually pull the face, because we have this wonderful thing in our brain called a mirror neuron. It's how we empathise with other people. If I watch someone lifting their arm, the same parts of my brain light up as if I lifted my arm. It's how we empathise. So if you're not sure what someone's facial expression means, if you pull the same expression yourself, often you feel the same way, because the emotion creates the face and the face creates the emotion. It works wonderfully. So as we go through, if you want to, try and pull the face. Now, let's start with anger. The micro version of anger is actually two components. We have the eyes tighten underneath and get narrower, and we have the lip margin gets tighter. So you either see the I've sucked a lemon face, as I call it, or we get the tightness under the eyes. And the micro version, you get one or the other. And you might want to think, when you get annoyed at something that's been said or done, which ones do you show? Now let's think about disgust. I'm going to come back to contempt at the end. Disgust is usually fairly obvious. It's the nose wrinkle effect. Now, disgust is related to rejection. So if someone says they've read your proposal, and what did you think about my ideas? Yeah, they're fine. No, they're not fine, because disgust, rejection. They're rejecting that idea. So you might need to think, well, what were they rejecting? The cost, the timing, the idea, the philosophy? What did they not like? But ask the question, because something in their brain rejected that idea. And occasionally you'll see that upper lip margin go straight up. That one I can't show you. But at least if you're seeing any part of that, like, I'm spitting out a sprout is the other expression. You see any of that, you're seeing disgust. And then we look at fear, and I'm going to link that with surprise, because in the micro version they can look very similar, because the eyebrows go up for both of them. The difference is in surprise, the eyebrows stay their natural shape and just shoot up. But in fear, they go flat. They flatten out and then rise. The mouth in the two are obviously very different. In surprise, the mouth drops away, but in fear, it tends to go straight. But, of course, if somebody is really shocked or really scared, these are two very fast emotions. They shouldn't stay on the face. So if somebody says, like, oh, I'm really surprised at that party you've thrown me. Liar. No, they're not. Because surprise is very fleeting. It moves off the face incredibly quickly. So then let's look at happy and sad. As I've already said, happiness is the smile, the two parts of the expression, the mouth and the eyes, and you'll see them both together. And happiness is also usually an emotion that builds very slowly onto the face. A slow onset and slow offset. Builds slowly and fades slowly. That's normal. Sadness is very similar. The wonderful thing about sadness is that adults fake sadness exactly the same way kids fake sadness. And what you'll see is they think, if I've got to look sad about something, maybe I've missed a deadline, maybe I've not hit my target. So what I'll do is, I think I've got to bring my brows down, and then I've got to bring my mouth down, and that means I've got to use my chin. And I'm so sorry, boss. And actually, that's not how sadness works at all. In sadness, the centre of the brow lifts. And the mouth drops away with no activation of the chin whatsoever. It's more likely to look like... It's quite hard to do. And if you hold a sad face for too long, you can actually make yourself cry. So I really wouldn't advise doing it too often. But it's definitely an example of the emotion creating the face and the face creating the emotion. So then I'm going to come back to the one that I missed out, contempt. Contempt, as you might notice, is the only asymmetrical or one-sided expression on the human face. So contempt can look like either the Elvis sneer or the pulling the mouth back, whatever. And you see this when people are feeling very contemptuous. Now, contemptuous is when we signal superiority, okay, moral, physical, or intellectual superiority. It's a really unpleasant emotion. And research suggests that if you see that kind of contempt in interpersonal relationships, certainly in personal relationships, it's correlated with about 95% of divorce in 5 years. So pretty serious. And if you're seeing it at work, again, it says something pretty serious about your relationship. So it's something, if you've seen contempt, you go and you fix that relationship because it's in trouble. Okay, so those are the faces. So next time you start to see those faces, you think, is that the expression I expected to see for that baseline and that context? What does that person usually look like when they're in their neutral expression, they're feeling calm and feeling comfortable? And then what kind of changes have I seen from that baseline? Another quick check. Have a look at this photo. Which one is having a really great day, is genuinely happy, versus the one that's frustrated at his computer? Because weirdly, it's a very similar expression.